boxing skills are sublime. No doubt he's pound for pound one of the best on the planet Earth. Crawford is the real deal.
Terrence Bud Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change what I feel.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman highlight a major flaw that could cost Canelo against Terrence Crawford. They argue Canelo isn't as great as many believe. While Crawford stands out as the greatest of his era, Crawford's ability to box with precision and move with fluidity creates problems that Canelo cannot easily solve. According to them, this weakness will ultimately lead to Canelo being outclassed and beaten convincingly in the fight.
Back in the ring with Terrence Crawford, not too soon. Maybe you take a year off and then come back and work your way to the 154, 160 division, and Terrence Crawford be there and y'all want to meet again. That's cool. That's cool. But you don't need to be going back in the ring with him this December. I know that much.
Stephen A. Smith points out that Canelo relies too heavily on power shots, believing raw strength alone will secure him victory. He argues that this approach is ineffective against Terrence Crawford, who thrives on skill, movement, and precision. According to Stephen, it takes far more than heavy punches to overcome a fighter like Crawford. And Canelo's predictable reliance on power will ultimately fail when matched against Crawford's superior boxing intelligence.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes,
Who
love
gonna
boxing.
win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You
will
gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, stronger fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
Always prepared.
He's always ready.
gotta give
He's
him that.
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Max Kellerman's breakdown draws a clear line between skill and physicality in the Canelo versus Crawford matchup. He points out that Crawford's jab is now one of the sharpest weapons in boxing, controlling distance and dictating pace. In contrast, Canelo's once crisp jab has declined, leaving him more dependent on strength and counterpunching. Kellerman stresses that Crawford's precision, timing, and ring intelligence could neutralize Canelo's size advantage, proving that tactical skill and adaptability may ultimately outweigh raw power when these two fighters meet. Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him.
Timothy Bradley Jr. draws a powerful comparison between the doubts Muhammad Ali once faced and the skepticism surrounding Terence Crawford today. He recalls how many believed Ali could never overcome George Foreman's size and strength. Yet Ali defied expectations through strategy, intelligence, and resilience. Bradley sees the same narrative building around Crawford, with critics claiming he cannot beat Canelo Alvarez because of the size disparity. However, Bradley insists greatness is not measured by physical size alone, but by determination, skill, and preparation. He points out that Crawford has devoted an entire year of training to prepare specifically for Canelo, showing his commitment to defying the odds just as Ali once did.
They said Ali couldn't beat George Foreman. Yep. They said that Jack Dempsey couldn't beat Jess Willard. Yeah. 6'6", Jess Willard, 250 plus pounds. Little old Jack Dempsey knocked him out. Yeah, they saying Terence Bud Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez. It's not gonna even be a fair fight. I promise you that. It's not gonna be a fair fight, because the minute he get acclimated to that punching power, it's gonna be over for Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, that wide swinging left hook, them big looping right hands. Oh, he can straighten that right hand. You don't think they're gonna be ready for that? Crawford and his team are the best in the business. Yeah, best in the business. Crawford has trained for this for an entire year. 1 year for one man. Thinking about him every day when he's out there grinding, watching video, studying film. Yeah, everybody talking about the weight. Oh, the weight, he too heavy. It was weight classes for a reason, and all of this crap. Man, you think greatness is just built on just being comfortable? Greatness is built on being uncomfortable. Yeah, before we even landed on the moon, it was an idea, right? It was an idea, and then they brought it to life, and we landed on the moon. I know there's some conspiracy theories out there saying that we didn't land on the moon, but you know what the hell I'm talking about. You get it? Yeah, we talk about size. Like, size is everything. What about skill? What about mentality?
Bernie Day Boxer strongly dismisses the idea that Crawford is undersized for this matchup. He argues that Crawford's frame and physical presence have often been underestimated, but his performances in higher weight classes prove otherwise. Bernie emphasizes that Crawford is not simply a smaller fighter moving up recklessly. Instead, he is intelligent, calculated, and aware of how to handle larger opponents. According to him, the real difference in this fight will not be raw size, but the ability to think, adapt, and outmaneuver in the ring. He stresses that Crawford and his team pride themselves on being smarter than Canelo's camp, and this sharpness in preparation could tilt the fight in Crawford's favor.
Crawford, you've seen him in the gym, but have you seen the best Crawford under the lights, you think?
When they say the best Crawford, I don't know. I like all Crawfords, how you do. You know, that's what makes him a dynamic champion. You know what I'm saying? The best Crawford is what it takes to win. You know what I mean? Now, some fights are more interested than others. As far as, like I say, the fight with Klimov was a kind of a slow fight. You know, and maybe the Madrimov was a slow fight. Benavidez was kind of a slow fight until he knocked him out. But he was doing a lot of great things in there. So Buzz fights, they're always exciting. You never know what's going to happen in those fights. So the best Crawford he's always at his best.
PHX Patriot, thank you for the $2. Get the likes of BMB, best in the biz. Something when Bud walked Canelo down. No way, he's too small. Fire. Let's go, Crawford.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that. A lot of people are saying that they don't think that the walking down situation will happen because of the wrestling background, the grapplings, the tactics, the balance and stuff like that. Stuff that Bud knows how to do because of his wrestling background. What would you say?
Man, I don't know nothing about no wrestling background. I mean, he did wrestle for, but he was not no national champion wrestler. He was not no real high school wrestler where he was wrestling all his years in high school. He wrestled. The man is just a freak of nature. He's an athlete. You understand? That's what it is. So his specialty is boxing. Okay, now he's strong as an ox. That's where his shit coming from. So they're not wrestling. It's not gonna be no fucking wrestling. You feel me? He doing strength and conditioning training. He's strong as an ox, like we already know that. His hands is like baseball mitt.
Canelo Alvarez has approached this matchup with humility and respect, recognizing Crawford as a legitimate threat despite being naturally smaller. In his own words, Canelo notes that at the very top of boxing, weight becomes less of a decisive factor because elite fighters know how to adjust and compete across divisions. His acknowledgement shows that he is not dismissing Crawford as an easy challenger. Instead, Canelo makes it clear he is preparing with total dedication, knowing that skill and discipline will be just as important as size and power. His professionalism reflects an understanding that Crawford's unique style requires more than simply relying on his usual strengths. This level of awareness suggests fans are likely to witness both fighters at their absolute peak.
Because Terrence is a smaller guy, and why do I need to fight this guy? For you, what changed? Tell me about the moment where you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this. This sounds like a good idea.
No, if you're thinking about it, look how big turns this fight. It's a big fight. No, that's why made me change. But I've been in his situation before, jumping weight classes, and when you're a good fighter, that doesn't matter. So I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on training very hard because Crawford is very good fighter.
Yeah, tell me about your experience with that, because now it's reversed. He's coming up in weight. What could be dangerous? What aren't we seeing that maybe you see in this fight?
No, everything. He's a good fighter. Obviously, I know that, and I need to be careful. I need to be careful in everything. So I see everything. And
Shocker Stevenson has expressed full confidence in Crawford's chances against Canelo. Basing his opinion on first-hand observations from training camps, Stevenson reveals that Crawford has been sparring with fighters who match or even exceed Canelo's size. And in these sessions, Crawford has been dominating. He highlights that while Canelo's chin has always been regarded as one of his strongest assets, it won't matter if he is consistently hit with precise and accurate shots. Stevenson argues that boxing at this level is not just about absorbing punishment, but about avoiding clean hits. And Crawford's accuracy ensures that every punch carries weight. For him, this proves that Crawford has the tools to overcome both size and durability.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change what I feel.
You've been feeling like that since day one. I think, but now nobody never thought about that fight like that, because when you were saying nobody was thinking about that fight because not even Bud Crawford.
Crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy.
I still think it's crazy though. For me, I still think it's crazy. But
You
like
have
you
to
said,
see
I'm not
him.
exactly. I'm not in the gym. I'm not in the
Yes,
gym.
you have to see him, man. The people he spars, everybody that Bud Crawford spars, is the same size as Canelo. Like all these guys that he's sparring is bigger guys. He don't even he do spar with people his size sometimes, and sometimes he getting it with me. That's strictly for skill. That's strictly to keep his skills, his hand speed, the IQ level up. But the people that Bud Crawford spars is like big ass dudes, and I'm watching what he can do in the ring and sparring. It's nothing that's gonna change come fight night. And I hear y'all say that the 16s and the 8s is different. I agree, but y'all gotta realize Bud got on 8s too.
And the chin also. Like Canelo Alvarez got one of them chins, man.
Bud got on 8 ounces too. And you can have all the chin in the world. I don't give a fuck who the fuck you is, if you get punched by the right motherfucker, you gonna feel that shit.
But that's the thing. He got punched by the right motherfuckers in Triple G and Kovalev.
Okay, and you don't know if Bud gonna crack him with a cleaner shot.
Legendary commentator Jim Lampley takes a more cautious stance, voicing the concern that Crawford may simply be too small to handle Canelo. Lampley acknowledges Crawford's brilliance, but believes natural size and strength are significant advantages at the elite level. In his view, Canelo's experience fighting larger men and his proven durability could make the weight gap difficult for Crawford to bridge. While Lampley respects Crawford's skill, he frames the fight as an uphill battle, suggesting that no matter how sharp Crawford is technically, he will face major physical obstacles against an opponent like Canelo. His perspective adds balance to the debate, underlining the real risks involved in Crawford stepping up to this challenge.
The conversations, I'm sure, Jim, will be hearing them abound. What do you think about the fight now that you just witnessed Canelo Alvarez again in a masterclass performance?
I love Terrence Crawford, and I want him to have what he wants. But off of what I saw tonight and what I saw in Los Angeles last month when Crawford was fighting my dream off, I am more than ever concerned that he's not big enough, and not big enough to be able to move around the ring and muscle Canelo in the way that he would have to ward off those really vicious inside power shots. I might have thought a few months ago that I would give Crawford a logical chance to win the fight. He is the most skilled pound-for-pound fighter in the world, but I just don't think he's big enough and strong enough to take on Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. And so far, Crawford is 154-pound fighter who's only been to 154 pounds once and didn't get a knockout. So, I just don't see it at this moment. I think there is a very obvious assignment out there for Canelo Alvarez, and it isn't Terrence Crawford at this moment.
Crawford's decision to move up in weight and challenge Canelo demonstrates his extraordinary ambition. Few fighters are willing to risk their legacy by stepping into the ring against someone naturally bigger. Yet Crawford embraces the danger. His previous ventures into higher weight classes have shown his adaptability, particularly his performances at 154 pounds, where he proved he could remain dominant even against larger men. At 168, the challenge is undeniably greater, but Crawford's blend of timing, movement, and precision punching means he will not simply be overwhelmed by size. His confidence in aiming for a knockout against Canelo underscores his belief that skills and ring IQ will ultimately neutralize physical disadvantages. As a southpaw, but basically he can fight in both stances,